Namaskaram, everyone. In today's narration, we continue the story of understanding what Narada wanted to convey to King Prachinabarhis through the story of Puranjana. If we all recollect 3 narrations before, we listened to the story of Prachinabarhis, on whom sage Narada took pity, saying that such a good king is wasting all his life in the pursuit of karma kanda, which would not help him to prepare for his salvation. And so sage Narada, out of karuna, decides to go to him and show him the path of bhakti to save him from this loop of karma kanda that he was caught in. When the king saw what he had done through the karma kandas that he was performing without even being aware of its repercussions, he did not know how to take his life further and asked Narada to guide him. It was at this point that Narada narrated the story of Puranjana to King Prachinabarhis. King Prachinabarhis sat silent for a while after Narada had related the story of Puranjana. Narada said, "This is Brahmavidya, what Avijñata gave to Puranjana. Even as Narayana favors his devotees without their being aware of his presence, even so have I tried to make you realize the truth without making the lesson obvious," said Narada to the king. The teaching of Brahmavidya was in the form of a story. I have tried to make you see for yourself as the imperishable. I wanted you to know the truth about yourself. Dear listeners, in Bharata, stories have been an integral part of conveying valuable lessons, be it through the Ramayana, through the Mahabharata, through the Srimad Bhagavatam, or through the various Puranas. So, how to listen to a story is as important as being able to process the story at a subtler level. Prachinabarhis said, "Please explain it more fully, my lord. Ordinary mortals like me cannot grasp the truth so easily. Tell me once again what the story means." Narada said, "I will certainly do so. I came to you only with the intention of teaching you Brahmavidya. I am happy that you want to know more about it. Listen to me carefully. I will begin with the word Puranjana. The Purusha who pervades and illumines the body he has assumed is called Puranjana. He has created the Pura, the city where he has decided to dwell, and so he is called Puranjana. And so Puranjana is the Atman which resides in the body. The divinity in him is not seen, but it is always there to guide him in the right path, and that is Avijñata. In the beginning, after the Pralaya, when there was nothing but the Brahman, the Purusha was all by itself. After the manifestation of the universe by the Maya of the Purusha became Prakriti also. Out of Prakriti came its other forms, the Mahat Tattva, which became the Aham Tattva. Then was the Jivatma manifested. The Jivatma became restless and wanted to experience the world of objects. He then entered the human body, which is made up of the 9 openings, Navadvarapuri. The 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, the 2 ears, the mouth, and the 2 excretory organs. In combination with the mind, the Jivatma is able to experience the worldly objects conveyed to him through the sense organs. The mind is necessary for the process of this enjoyment, this bhoga. And now you will be able to understand the analogy of the city by the name Bhogavati. The human body is Bhogavati, the home of all enjoyment. Puranjani, who helped Puranjana to enjoy the worldly pleasures, is the mind, the buddhi as it is called. Puranjani is none other than the mind or the buddhi. The 10 attendants who were with her are the 10 indriyas, the jnanendriyas and the karmendriyas. And the many function of these indriyas are the hundreds of female attendants of the 10 men. The snake with the 5 heads is prana, the breath of life, and the 5 heads are its 5 variations: prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. When the Jivatma wants to enjoy the things of the world, he does so with the help of 9 instruments of perception: the eyes, the ears, etc. And that is why the 9 gates are said to lead into the city or lead out of the city. When the mind is bent on the world of objects, and in the enjoyment of them the Atman also has to do the same, since it has become attached to it. That is why I said Puranjana did all that the woman did. He had lost his identity, meaning that he had forgotten his real nature and was completely lost in the world of objects driven by his senses and the mind. The garden surrounding the city of Bhogavati, where Puranjana met Puranjani, is the world of objects which gratifies the senses. When the Jivatma gets involved with the mind, the buddhi, his desire being the pursuit of the world of objects and the pleasures to be derived from it with the help of the senses, then he is said to have become involved, attached. The real nature of the Jivatma becomes enveloped in Maya and he suffers the pain and pleasures of the world. The 100 years which he was allowed to spend with the woman in the city Bhogavati is the span of life granted to man. Chandavega is time which moves ruthlessly on, and the 360 Gandharvas are the days in the year, while their dark counterparts, the women, are the nights. They surround the body and eat up one's life without any consideration for the man who wants to fight them or to hold them at bay. Time will pass and will wait for no one. Kala cannot be controlled. Jara is old age, and rather the decay which sets in with the advent of old age. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Naturally, Jara is not welcome anywhere, and it is but natural that she should team up with death. Yama. Death is called Yavaneshwara, The Yavanas are the diseases of the mind, the soldiers of Yama, and those of the body. Prajvara is the fever, the affliction which hastens the process of death. When the Atman becomes conditioned by the equipment made up of the body and mind, it develops the qualities I and mine. When these enter the mind, along with them come the many sufferings which the body undergoes, and the Jivatma too, since it has become involved with the body, goes through its pleasures and its pains. What then is the cure for this? Man dreams, and during his dream he undergoes all the feelings, emotions, pleasures and sufferings of that dream world. He has identified himself with the man who is dreaming, and naturally the sufferings of the one are the sufferings of the other. This state of things will continue until the dreamer awakes. And the moment he awakes, the dreamer knows that he had been going through all what was not real, that it was all conjured up by the dream state, and that he need not suffer them because he is awake. He knows the truths about his dream. But unless he wakes up, and until he wakes up, it is not possible for anyone to convince him that it is all false, that the dream world does not exist. A dreamer has to wake up in order to realize that he was dreaming. And even so, the involvement of the Jivatma with the body and the mind is like a dream. No amount of intellectual arguments can convince him that his sufferings are false. He has to wake up from this dream to realize the truth about himself. With these words, Prachina Barhis went into deep contemplation. Narada paused to allow him to assimilate what he had said. And so, my dear listeners, we too shall take a pause to continue in the next narration very soon. Hari Om.